Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here, and today's video is on Star Wars Queen's Hope by E.K. Johnston. This is a novel in the Canon Timeline and takes place in 22 BBY, and is the same year as Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. This book is a newer book, so it is $11, which is a little more on the expensive side compared to most of the books that I get at around $7, $8, even $5 or $6. This is the final book in a trilogy of Padme books by E.K. Johnston, and it's the only one that is not broken up into parts. So this will be the only video not broken up into parts. Chapter 1. Padme is prepping her wedding dress veil. She has contacted Yane. Yane will make her wedding dress, but she knows nothing of the ceremony, just that it is a wedding dress for Padme. Chapter 2. Tonra and Sabe have returned to Tatooine under new aliases to try to help the enslaved again. Dorme hired 2 new handmaidens, Ellie and Moti. They will replace Corday and Verse, who had died. Corday was acting as Senator Amidala when they landed on Coruscant at the beginning of Episode 2. Chapter 3. Sache and the rest of Naboo's legislature are debating an outdated bill that would let Naboo exploit other planets in the Chommell sector because of help Naboo had given them generations before while they were being colonized, in some cases. Panaka was in the legislative meeting and was the one to present the old bill. After the debate concluded for the day, Panaka sent a message to Palpatine to keep him updated on the safety of Naboo. Chapter 4. Anakin visited Qui-Gon's shrine while Padme swam in the lake the morning of their wedding. Queen Jamelia asked Padme to take her Jedi escort and bring some Naboo artists in a group called the Tirada Collective back to Naboo. They were behind separatist lines when the war broke out. Padme has told Anakin and they are preparing to leave. They will marry once they return. Chapter 5. Padme and Anakin have arrived at the artists' commune on the planet Nooroyo. They were greeted by Selena, owner of the complex the artists are staying at. She brought them to the artists. Selena has an odd vibe about her. Padme talked with Carl, one of the artists. He recognized her and told her she had to leave the planet immediately because Gunray was spearheading spice negotiations of the Trade Federation on Nooroyo. She said if any of the artists wanted to leave, they had to decide now. Chapter 6. Carl and another artist, Antrea, Jamilia's sister, joined Padme and Anakin aboard their ship, ready to leave. Carl stayed on Nooroyo with the other artists. Padme returned Antrea to Jamilia, and then returned to the lake house with Anakin. Chapter 7. Padme and Anakin got married. Chapter 8. Yoda called Senator Bail Organa to give him some information about a resupply company that was suspicious of the Jedi and wanted to talk with a senator. It was the same company Organa and his group of loyalist senators have already red flagged as a possibly suspicious resupply and aid company. Bail is studying Palpatine's new powers. Massa Maida told Palpatine that Anakin had not returned with the rest of the Jedi but had gone to Naboo. Palpatine wanted to talk with Anakin when he came back to Coruscant after he spoke with the Jedi, but before he left for his new assignment. Sabe and Tonra continued to build their lives on Tatooine. Chapter 9. Padme and Anakin spent a couple of days together on Naboo after their wedding, then returned to Coruscant separately. Padme returned to Coruscant with Dorme, Typho, and her new handmaidens Ellie and Moti. Ellie and Moti joined Padme in a meeting with Mon Mothma and Organa. The new handmaidens were chosen less for their physical appearance, being similar to Padme, and more for their political knowledge. In this meeting, they discussed the new mission of sending a senator to the company. They need a senator who is important and can be in 2 places at once. Padme volunteered her and her handmaidens' services, which is what Organa was hoping would happen without having to explicitly ask. Chapter 10. Sabe and Tonra have done 3 transports, bringing people off of Tatooine. These people are malnourished and timid. They never ask questions about their situations. Padme called Sabe. Padme needs Sabe back on Coruscant to be her while she goes on a secret meeting with the resupply company. Tonra will stay and keep up their operation on Tatooine. Anakin was sent on a new mission with Obi-Wan without being able to see Padme. Sabe arrived on Coruscant and reunited with Padme and her entourage of guards and handmaidens. Chapter 11. Sache and her new aide, recommended by Dorme, Tipo, went to Carlinus to discuss the old treaty. They were met by Harley Jaffon, a familiar name from the first book in this series. Harley brought them to Governor Kelma's house, where they began discussing how Naboo and Carlinus could work together during this escalating clone war. Chapter 12. Padme told Sabe the whole mission. She did not mention Anakin. General Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin, Commander Cody, Sister, a female clone, and other clone troopers defeated a group of droids. 4 clones had died. Then another group of droids came to attack. It did not mention the planet they are fighting on, but it is barren and rocky. Chapter 13. Padme and Typho will be going aboard a Wookiee-piloted ship, the Namrelllew. Sabe attended an opera with Bail as Padme. Padme was one of the handmaidens that night and would depart Coruscant the next day. Before her death, Shmi had worked on a device to disarm and remove chips from slaves. The Lars family continued to develop it after her death, but it wasn't perfect. Tonra spoke to one of them, hooded with a voice changer. He now has the device. They want to see if he can improve upon the device. He has sent the specs to Rabe to see if she can help improve it. Chapter 14. Kelma, Harley, and Sache have gone to a village where a new influx of workers, possibly former slaves, have been arriving en masse. Zebi, one of the 25 Sabe and Tonra had freed from Tatooine 6 years earlier, greeted them. They talked and learned of some of the newcomers' history. All were previous slaves from all over the Outer Rim. Tipo plotted where all of the newcomers had come from. They were all Outer Rim planets where battles between separatists and clones were going on. Slaves had been freed and delivered to Carlinus by some group or groups. Chapter 15. The Namrelllew was headed for Habecker Minor. The captain, Naiho, and his wife, Rain, the navigator, were both Wookiees. Ida Umriss was the engineer. The only other crew was a droid, G1FY. Some of the Namrellew's cargo was tea from Carlinus, although most of its cargo was medical supplies and water purifiers. Chapter 16. Sabe attended a party hosted by Organa. Palpatine was there, and he mentioned some of Padme's Jedi acquaintances had returned to Coruscant. Palpatine was slightly suspicious of Sabe when she did not react how he expected to this news, but did not push it. Once Sabe went to bed, she heard someone coming into her room, quietly. Chapter 17. All aboard the Namrelllew gathered for dinner. Typho and Padme are not suspicious of any of the sentient crew members, but think G1FY could be sending messages off the ship. Nemoidian OG Nadib received some limited info from G1FY about the guards aboard the Namrelllew. G1FY had a small ability to send information. He could only send that the 2 guards were humans from Coruscant. Nadib is hoping Padme will be the senator they sent. Chapter 18. Sabe realized that it was Anakin. Anakin was confused at first as to where Padme was, even choking Sabe. Sabe explained that Padme was away on a Senate mission, and she was taking her place for the time being. Sabe put the pieces together and realized that a lot of things Padme has changed in her schedule and life are for her and Anakin to be able to see each other. In the morning, Sabe spoke with Dorme about Anakin. Dorme is the only person that Padme had told about Anakin. Chapter 19. The Namrelllew arrived at Habecker Minor. Padme and Typho took the supplies in a shuttle to Commander Styx, a clone. Styx brought them to meet with General Savad and the Magistrate. The Separatists have captured the Magistrate's family, including grandchildren. General Savad, a Jedi and his Padawan, cannot negotiate like they could in the past because the Jedi have taken a side. Thinking Padme and Typho are neutral, they have asked for their help. and use of their shuttle to rescue the magistrate's family. Over comm, Typho made contact with the Separatists, offering to sell them rum, which he had said the clone army did not purchase. The Separatists agreed and gave them landing coordinates. It is no longer just Padme and Typho in the shuttle, they are joined by Styx and other clones. Chapter 20. Sache, Harley, and Kelma are continuing negotiations with other representatives from the Chommell sector. They came to an agreement and signed the amendments to the treaty into law. It now benefits all in the Chommell sector, rather than just letting Naboo abuse other planets, although it does still favor Naboo. Naboo can only enact it if all three branches of government agree in a blind vote. Palpatine had used Naboo as an experiment. He has a plan to change Naboo's power structure so they have one ruler, rather than their current structure of queen, legislature, and governor. He likely wants Panaka to be their leader and a puppet under Palpatine. Chapter 21. Styx and the clones went into the compound to rescue the magistrate's family, while Padme and Typho defeated some droids around where the shuttle had landed. They brought the magistrate's family home. Padme and Typho returned to the Namrelllew to get ready to meet their contact. Chapter 22. Senators met with Jedi to discuss the war. Sabe went as Amidala. She spoke with Bilaba and Barriss about their experience in the war, then listened to Plo Koon give his analysis of the clone troopers, with Yoda echoing his point. Anakin then apologized to her in private for the way he had treated her the night before. Sabe realized it was more than just a relationship and that they were married. Palpatine then talked with Amidala. Sabe could feel the darkness and knew Palpatine knew she was not Padme. Sabe took a moment after their conversation before rejoining the rest of the group. Sabe knows as soon as Padme returns to Coruscant, she must leave. Palpatine watched Amidala as she entered the crowd. He wanted to leave some lingering thoughts with Sabe. Chapter 23. G1FY brought Padme into a maintenance room and called her senator. There she was met with a hologram of a Neimoidian who was pleased to see her. G1FY had also locked Typho into his quarters. Ida broke the door down. The trio headed towards the maintenance room where Padme was. The Neimoidian is OG Nadib, a large trade stakeholder in the Outer Rim, including Nooroyo. Nadib is a part of a Neimoidian splinter group within the Trade Federation, a decade before during the occupation of Naboo. This group works to repair the damage the Trade Federation is doing. They want to replace Lot Dodd as their senator so they can have one that is not so connected to the separatist movement. This faction is also the ones responsible for selling medical and food supplies to planets impacted by the war, especially those being attacked by the Trade Federation. The Namrelllew was headed back to Coruscant. Chapter 24. Padme revealed her true identity to Niho and Rain. She then called Sache, who had sent her a message about someone buying large amounts of Carlini tea, and revealed that it was a splinter group from the Trade Federation. Nadib was responsible for all of the new workers on Carlinus. He has been freeing slaves with his family inheritance as it was acquired through not so desirable means. Padme said she would bring Nadib and his hopes for the Trade Federation up to her faction. Chapter 25. Sabe and Mariak went to Dex's diner for some food. He's been struggling with supply chain issues and price hikes since the start of the war. Padme got changed and went to Organa's office. Mon Mothma and Palpatine were also there. Palpatine revealed that he was glad she returned. He had spoken with Organa after the event because he wanted to find out if she was safe, as he knew he had spoken with a decoy. Palpatine left after Padme gave her report of her mission. Then she gave more details to Mon Mothma and Organa. They all went their separate ways for the night. Palpatine is furious that there is a splinter group in the Trade Federation, but he is going to use it to spark more hope in the Outer Rim before he crushes it. He has instructed Dooku on the matter over comm. Chapter 26. Sabe told Padme she couldn't be Amidala anymore. Sabe also revealed that she had encountered Anakin. Padme apologized that she found out the way she did. Sabe is going to return to Tatooine and keep working with Tonra. Padme cried, but understood. Sabe also said that her hands are always Padme's, but asked her to not ask her to be her hands again. Chapter 27. Sabe returned to Tatooine. While she was gone, Tonra had received improvements to the chip device from Rabe. They are becoming more trusted by the organization freeing slaves. Chapter 28. Anakin visited Padme. And that's the end of the book. Overall, this book was decent. My second favorite book in the trilogy. The first book was still my favorite. Not a whole lot of action in this book, but some really good character development and some enjoyable galaxy development. The war progresses. A lot of the characters progressed. Tonra and Sabe are more together now. Anakin and Padme are more together now. A lot of the handmaidens are more separated than before. Let me know what you thought about this book down below. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.